Hi everyone, my name is Madjer. I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Medicine and Health Sciences in St. Kitts. Thank you so much to MedTutors and Tendai for asking me to be interviewed about several of my passions in medical school and the journey along the way. I can't wait to get started. One thing I get asked a lot is about mentorship. How to find a mentor, how to best be a mentor for a mentee, what are the things that both parties should get out of the experience. And what I decided to do is kind of educate different opportunities and resources for both students that are looking for a mentor and students that want to be mentors and are looking for mentees. You want to know what you need mentorship in. You need to know what you don't know. In other words, it's kind of hard for mentors to constantly be available to mentees. And so an important thing to keep in mind is, as a mentee, I don't know what I don't know. And so once you identify what questions you have, it's much easier to approach a mentor, and you become more teachable if you have an idea of what you need help with. And so that's what I say often to people that ask about that. Really just have your questions narrowed down so that you can get to the bottom of what you need help with and no one's wasting anyone's time. When you're thinking about where to find a mentor or how to reach out to someone, I always tell people that the best way to do that is to think about your immediate circle. Think about friends that have gone through what you're now experiencing and need help with, family if that's possible, and then branch out a little bit further. Think about colleagues that you've been in contact with, even if they're acquaintances, someone that you can reach out to that you know has experienced something you're going through. Also look at counselors and professors at your university or at, in the workplace that you're at. Think about reaching out to them because they have clearly, gone through education and are in the higher ranks and can give you some sound advice about how they did that. Another place in the far reaches, if none of that has produced a mentor-mentee relationship, I would say that think about getting involved with a club or an organization that has a local chapter, because ultimately what those types of groups are most oriented towards is mentorship. Ultimately, they want to create a collaborative group of people that fosters mentorship, successful tips and things, and camaraderie, if nothing else. Joining a group means that you're joining something or a group of people that have a common interest. And so those are also wonderful places to find mentors. And if all else fails, the new climate of social media and networking from a virtual perspective has also, at least for me, fostered a lot of mentorship experiences. So I would say look at figures that you respect and know and have researched on social media, whether that's Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn, perhaps Twitter. I think that there's just so much opportunity in social media, but be wary because, with such a large network, there's always some potential for misguidance. So I would say that would be the ultimate place where you can look for mentorship, but definitely not the first place to look. I think I've become so passionate about mentorship and advocacy, mostly because I feel like throughout my medical journey so far, I hadn't really fully been able to take advantage of either of those, maybe because I missed opportunities or I, didn't know where to look. But ultimately, now that I've had that experience, I realized that both of those things need to become more available for the average medical student. And so that is really what has cultivated this passion for me personally. But I have found, as I mentioned, eventually through social media, I found two incredible resources that I would love to share with you now here. One of which is Dr. Rupa Wong, who's an ophthalmologist in Hawaii. She has created an online platform called Attending Lounge, which has been such a wonderful source and resource for just kind of getting through some of the mental obstacles that come with wanting to be in this field. Anything from helping with planning your future and goal setting and things like that. This Attending Lounge has been absolutely incredible. She also brings on these wonderful speakers that really just remind you of why we're in this field. So I definitely recommend looking that up. That's Dr. Rupa Wong and the Attending Lounge. The second plug I wanted to make was for a fellow IMG. Her name is Dr. Nina Loom. She has essentially dedicated her life to being an advocate and resource for IMGs and international medical students everywhere. She has also created an online virtual platform called IMG Roadmappers. All of these resources can be found on their individual Instagram pages, so I definitely recommend you looking at that. But she has just been an unbelievable force in the IMG world, trying to promote, as I mentioned myself, she's quite honestly one of my role models in trying to advocate for IMGs, educating those around us that are not IMGs, that don't fully understand the process, and she's just wonderful in every single way. She actually also wrote a book called Still MD with Dr. Kimberly Brown, and who's also an IMG. So I definitely, hope you check all of that out, because it's been an incredible resource for me personally, and I'm sure it will be for all IMGs and international medical students everywhere. Another passion of mine is advocacy for international medical students and graduates. It has come to my attention over the past 3.5 years that there is a very real stigma and bias surrounding international medical graduates and students, and so I kind of just felt this want to make a change with the outlook that comes with being this type of medical graduate. I myself will one day hopefully be an international medical graduate, and that shouldn't change how I am treated or my peers are treated in the clinical setting. And so I decided that the best way to make a change, especially now as a medical student, is to inform and educate those around me in what it takes to be an international medical graduate, what the educational process is, what is it like to be, living in the Caribbean or abroad somewhere and eventually want to practice in the US, what the path is for students that are international medical students that want to come back to the United States and practice medicine. So I decided that that was going to be my passion and my drive, and the best way nowadays to get information out is through social media. And so I decided to kind of transform my Instagram page so that I can constantly be, reading papers that are coming out about international medical graduates that are practicing, what they contribute to the United States domestic healthcare force, and what that all means for aspiring IMG. And that eventually led to publishing a paper along with Dr. Edith Esparza-Young and Dr. Shankar and several other medical students and physicians, as we collaborated on this paper entitled IMGs Mentoring When It Matters, From Basic Sciences to Clinical Rotations and What to Know. One of the incredible organizations that I am so glad to be a part of ever since I started medical school is the American Medical Women's Association, aka AMWA. I heard about them in my first semester in medical school and just really fell in love with everything they stood for, the opportunities they offered their members, their mission in general. And so I decided, hey, why not? Let's start a chapter on the island. And so I became the president and founder of the AMWA UMHS St. Kitts chapter. That was just an incredible experience, more so for the fact that I had a wonderful board of female medical students. We worked together to put on fundraisers. We did educational activities on campus for the students of UMHS, and then we also did charitable work in the community in St. Kitts. So I fell in love with everything that AMWA stands for, and so eventually when I had to leave the island to pursue the rest of my academic career, I thought, well, why not? Let's participate on a bigger level. And so I applied and got the position of the National Global Health Chair for the Student Division of AMWA, and it has been amazing. I've been doing that for about the last 10 months, and my role in this position is to solely focus on the facilitation of the ANC Carter Global Health Fellowship, which is a fellowship that AMWA medical students apply to. They apply with the notion that they will get a grant for a global health project. And so I have worked with these fellows for the last 10 months. They are incredible women with incredible aspirations and goals in bettering global health. Unfortunately, due to COVID, a lot of those plans had to change, but so much has come from this fellowship for them and for myself, and I'm so thankful to have had this opportunity to work with them. If I could go back and give my past self 2 pieces of advice, this is what I would say. Number 1, from a logistical standpoint, do not use too many resources to study. It is a rabbit hole, and ultimately it's a lot of fluff that can be condensed in 2 or 3 resources. So do your best to find what works for you while you're in basic sciences, find the resources that work best, and then hone down on those 2 or 3 resources when it comes time for board studying. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be, from a more futuristic outlook, don't let anyone tell you that it's too early to start asking questions about your own future. You're the one that is going to be working hard. You're the one that's taking on this difficult task, and ultimately you're the one that's going to be financing all of this. So if it's not up to you to ask these questions, then whose job is it? I guess what I'm trying to say is that you're the one that has to take charge of your own life, and if you look to someone to ask them for help about something that could potentially be a problem down the line, and they don't want to answer your question, that's on them. Do not stop asking. Do everything you can to be your own advocate, because ultimately we will have to be advocates for someone else down the line, whether that's a family member or a patient or a friend. If you can't be your own advocate, how can someone else depend on you to advocate for them? So ask all the questions, find all the answers, do whatever you can to take charge of your own education and your own life. I want to say thank you again so much to Tendai and MedTutors for asking me to come on the YouTube channel and interview and talk about things that I'm very passionate about, and really get the word out about all the wonderful things that come from being an international medical student, eventually an IMG, physician, medical student, the whole thing. I'm very blessed, and I feel very honored to be on this channel with you guys. So again, please feel free to reach out to me at any point if you have any questions at all. I am on Instagram and on Twitter at Nina Madjer. I really look forward to getting in touch with anyone that has questions about, medical school abroad, the process of coming back, AMWA, global health, and everything in between. Thank you so much, and cheers.